To order. This is a public meeting pursuant to our Planning, Development, and Heritage bylaws. I'd like to call the meeting now to order. I am Jeff McDonald. I am the Chair of Planning, Development, and Heritage Committee. Welcome. Thank you all for attending and joining us online. Now, just some preliminary matters. If you do want to comment formally on anything from tonight's meeting, the town will accept written responses provided directly to the Planning Department by email or in writing until Friday, June 30th, 2023 at noon. Please note that comments provided on any social media platform are not captured as part of the written submission process. There are two applications on the agenda this evening. After each application being presented tonight, there will be an open floor for any questions or comments on the applications. Questions via social media will be monitored and submitted to be read into the record and answered. To ask a question, please use the comment field on either our YouTube or Facebook pages where you are viewing the live stream. As this is a public meeting, you are required to provide your name and address when asking a question. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first subject of our public meeting tonight, which is our resolution number DP 056-23, presented from the PEI Federation of Agriculture at 10903 Trans-Canada Highway, a special permit use. The background to this application is the Planning Department received an application from the PEI Federation of Agriculture on behalf of Mackenzie Produce to host Breakfast on the Farm, a one-day event scheduled for Saturday, August the 5th, 2023, between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., located on parcel numbers 289-587 and 105-3123. The event is considered an agritourism and recreation use, which is a special permit use within the Agricultural Reserve A1 zone. Now, in accordance with the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw, Section 15.1.3, this application is considered a special permitted use, and therefore Council shall ensure that property owners within 61 meters or 200 feet of the subject property are notified in writing and asked to provide their comments. I do understand that such notices have been sent out. I would now call upon the PEI Federation of Agriculture representatives to present the details of their application so that the members of the public who might be viewing online or here present with us here today can comment and ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My
Mr.
name is Donald Kalorn. I'm the Executive Director of the PEI Federation of Agriculture. We're Prince Edward Island's largest farm organization made up of over 500 farm families, 17 commodity groups. One of our major projects is called Farm and Food Care. It's our public trust initiative, so its mission is to connect Prince Edward Islanders with the food system, the people that produce food on PEI. And part of that, we have our signature event is Breakfast on the Farm. It would be our largest public event of the year. This year we hope to hold it at Mackenzie Produce, and we're pleased to have the owners here with us this evening. We have submitted the application. Our Farm and Food Care Coordinator, Jillian Ferguson, is here. She'll speak to the specifics of the event, and we'll answer together. We'll be able to answer any questions we might have. So I'll pass it over to Jillian.
Thank you, Mr. Kalorn.
Thank you, Donald. Excuse me. My name is Jillian Ferguson. I am Program Coordinator for Farm and Food Care through the Prince Edward Island Federation of Agriculture. So Breakfast on the Farm is an annual event that was previously hosted by Farm and Food Care PEI and the PEI Federation of Agriculture in 2018 and 2019, and is being revived this year following a hiatus during the global COVID-19 pandemic. The 2023 event, presented in partnership with title sponsor Amalgamated Dairies Limited, will be held at Mackenzie Produce, 10903 Trans-Canada Highway, Stratford. Breakfast on the Farm offers a free PEI-sourced breakfast meal to attendees, along with musical entertainment, interactive activities, and the opportunity for Islanders to interact with farmers and commodity group representatives directly on farm. This event is a place for farmers, neighbors, and community members to meet and celebrate local food, farming, and culture. This year's event will also coincide with the celebration of the 20th annual Food Day Canada, an initiative aimed at supporting local food across the country. The event will take place between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Saturday, August 5th, 2023. Previous events were attended by 800 and 1,000 members of the public, spread over the 3-hour window, and similar attendance is expected again this year. As there is limited parking at the farm, and to cut down on traffic merging onto and off of the busy TCH throughout the morning event, attendees will be bused from a separate parking location at the Stratford Town Hall. All parking will take place at the Stratford Town Hall lot, which has been accepted by the Department of Transportation, and visitors will be bused to and from the event. Parking arrangements will be clearly stated in all advertising as well as signage pertaining to the event and reinforced by volunteers and potential RCMP presence at the farm entrance. All activities will be hosted on farm and should offer no disruption to the surrounding community as a result. Breakfast on the farm fits into the agriculture or agritourism and recreational use category, bringing visitors directly on farm and offering educational opportunities as well as the chance to observe crops on a working PEI farm. Being that Mackenzie Produce hosts hundreds of visitors annually through their agritourism activities, including their corn maze and farm market, this event complements their existing model and space in the town of Stratford. As the event will be held directly on farm, the fields surrounding the farm will offer a buffer between event patrons and the surrounding neighborhood. The team at Farm and Food Care PEI, as well as Mackenzie Produce, are well equipped to host this event, which will be a success for the community as well as the agriculture and food industries on Prince Edward Island. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferguson. Any other aspects of your presentation here this evening, either of you? And that's not a trick question. I just wanted to see.
I guess if everybody wanted to, this is a model of the event grounds map, so which includes our entertainment area, our catering and dining tent at the back of the farm. We have a partner booth set up within the farm lot as well. The shuttle bus and emergency vehicle entrance and exit off of the Trans-Canada Highway, as well as where an RCMP officer would be stationed pending their availability. The bus drop-off and pickup location is directly in front of the main farm building, and that main building will also be used for electrical and water needs as well.
Thank you. I just have one. Yes.
Our stream just, our IT person had just indicated that that mic isn't working correctly.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Can I get you to go up to the podium maybe and see if that one's working?
What did we get? Anything?
He said that the pencil mic up there can pick up a bit.
Okay.
Check, check.
Okay. Sorry.
We might ask you to both go over there. Yeah. Okay, so I think we got most of that from what I understand. I just had one question, I suppose, just from myself. I understand that as part of your planning, you've turned your mind to washroom and sanitary facilities as well as cleanup. I wonder if you could just speak to that.
Yes, so we are working with a couple of local companies on procuring some, portable bathrooms right now, as well as hand washing stations, and we will also have a dumpster on site to deal with any trash that accumulates throughout the morning. We will have a team of about 25 to 30 volunteers that will be on as well, who will be walking the site throughout the day, helping patrons understand where garbage needs to go and where trash needs to be picked up and things like that. So there definitely is a plan there in place for trash and sanitary purposes.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Director or Ms. Kennedy, I don't know if you have anything that you wish to discuss with the applicants at this point in time?
Test. I just want to reconfirm something, that there will be a transit bus going from the town hall to the site, which will eliminate a lot of car traffic and other traffic in the Trans-Canada, and that'll be something continued all day throughout the project itself?
Yes, so between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. throughout the duration of the event, Maritime Bus is offering a shuttle bus between the farm and the public parking here at the town hall. So that will be running, and we'll have a schedule posted for all attendees. We're planning on having it run every 20 minutes or so to ensure that everybody can make it to the farm and back. And that is also the purpose of reaching out to the Stratford RCMP detachment to potentially have a RCMP vehicle posted at the farm to ensure that nobody parks at the farm.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I'd just like to add that. Okay. I'd just like to add that this application was sent to the Department of Transportation, and they were in support, provided that all of the attendees shuttled to and from the property, but otherwise they were in support of it, but are concerned about the increased traffic.
Very good. Anything else from the panel here? Okay. If I might then now open the floor here in person as well as online for any questions for the applicants. So I don't know if that microphone is working. I might, yes, thank you.
Joanne Driscoll, 70 Mount Herbert Road. This is a sign-up event, correct? It's not like people just come and go all morning. It's they sign up so you know how many people are coming and when.
Yes, so we currently have a Facebook group that is running for people to sign up, as well as an Eventbrite page. It's a free event, but we are encouraging folks to sign up through Eventbrite just to ensure that we understand how many people are coming before the day of.
Thank you, Ms. Driscoll. Anybody else in person? Ms. Vera, I don't know if anybody's writing in. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Not hearing any further questions, what I'd like to do at this point in time is I want to thank the applicants for coming in and giving a very capable description of their proposal. I'd just like to outline our next steps so the applicants are aware, as well as the public is aware of how the town will now approach this application. As I noted in my preamble, written comments will be received until Friday, the June 30th at 12 noon by email to skennedy, KENNEDY, at townofstratford.ca, all one word, or hand-delivered to the Town Center Planning Department. As noted before, any submissions on Facebook or social media or otherwise would not be considered to be an official written comment. It would then move to the Planning Board for discussion in our next monthly meeting, which is scheduled for July the 4th, 2023 at noon. And then for our next Town Council meeting, depending upon that deliberation, which is tentatively scheduled for July the 12th, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. So thank you, folks. Really appreciate that. And certainly you'll be able to follow this process through as well. Mr. McKeegan and Ms. Kennedy and Mr. Ruff are all here from our planning department. Should you have any questions or additional factors that you wish us to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay, turning to our next item on our agenda for tonight's public meeting. And this is application number DP 083-23. Applicant being Stratford Auto Tire Craft, located at 7 McKinnon Drive, special permitted use. Preamble. The Planning Department received an application from Stratford Auto Tire Craft to construct an addition being 56 feet by 40 feet, equaling a total of 2,240 square feet to the existing Stratford Auto building, currently located on parcel number 942243 within the Town Center Commercial Zone. In accordance with the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw Section 13.4.3, this application is considered a special permitted use, and therefore council shall ensure that property owners within 61 meters or 200 feet of the subject property are notified in writing and asked to provide their comments. I do note that there had been a direct mail campaign sent out, as well as postings on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, as well as our official website. And I do want to confirm that those written notices were sent out. I do believe
Yes.
they were. Yes, thank you. All right, I would now then call upon Mr. James Perot of the Stratford Auto to present his application or an overview of it for this public meeting so that the public may hear it and accurately comment upon it. We'll call you at this time, Mr. Perot. Now, yeah, I'll ask you to come up here because I understand this microphone has some issues.
It's actually a pretty straightforward presentation. The existing building is there. You can see on Google Maps, and the picture that we have here is the pink is the expansion to a building that's been there for 18 years. I think 18 years ago we had a public meeting the same to get that same property brought into the zoning to comply with the town of Stratford. Within 5 years, we expanded into the second portion that you see that runs horizontal to it, and the addition would be the pink section at the back. Really, it's a two-bay add-on. Growth is, as we know it in Stratford, has grown leaps and bounds in that 18 years, and it's to the point now where we need to add a couple more technicians to be able to handle the day-to-day operation. Fiona took a little bit of a hit on us at the back of our buffer zone where the trees are, where you can see here at the back, bordering properties, and Luckily, there was no damage to homes and stuff in the back or fencing issue in between our property. But in that same time, we'd like to address where those trees are at the back. There's a 30-foot buffer zone with the subdivision agreement that's there. That buffer zone is still there with a lot less trees on it with Fiona with blowdown. So when we go to do the renovation, what our plan would be to bring that ditching back up, get the water to run at a better rate that goes across the back. And Dale and I had a look at it too. There's some areas there that a better irrigation or run of water to get off the property. There is a property next door that actually has a drainage. We've allowed drainage from the church next door. And I'd think, Dale, probably 15 years ago or 16 years ago, when the Jehovah's Witness Church was built next door, we gave them permission to run the water across the back. And at that time, they're still running the water across, even though the storm drain is at the front. So Dale and I discussed that we would probably try to do something, enhance that water drainage, get some trees in there so that there is a buffer between us and the properties at the back. There is a fence on the one property, the other one is a wooded lot, so it's, enhance that, the noise reduction with trees and so on. So that's pretty simple. It's just our normal use, auto service. Just growth is deemed that we need to expand.
Thank you, Mr. Perot. Anything else you'd like to add at this point in time?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward there from our perspective. There's no use change on the property. It would, still be a full automotive use and nothing, any bigger than what we usually work on there.
Okay.
No more increased traffic after hours. If anything, we might be there shorter days if we can get the space to get in and get out a little quicker.
So I just have if I may, I just have a question for just right now, just so I understand. So in addition, you are looking to add the new addition to the rear of the property.
Yes, yeah.
I also understand you are looking to pave more of the existing lot to create some new additional spaces?
The pavement on the back would change. The addition would be 56 feet. Right now, I think we would add about 36 feet of actual paved area. There is a 25, I'd say about 25, 26 feet of paved area already past the existing shop to comply with the parking that we needed at the time.
Okay. Have you consulted any stormwater or management people or anything to that extent, considering the increase in the impermeable surface that you're going to be
Yeah,
adding?
and the architect has had a look at that in talks with Dale as far as making sure that we get the amount of water runoff there to cross the back of that property and the property next door, which we own as well. So.
Okay. And I understand from this diagram, you are proposing to plant new trees.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
think when Dale and I discussed it, it's probably the opportune time after 20 years or 18 years of that property being, wind and damage to the property, to that tree buffer, which was, it was probably 60 feet, Dale, at the time. When we did the expansion the first time, there was some trees taken out of that because of insurance reasons for the fences and the homes next door, probably 8 years ago. And luckily before Dorian and Fiona come through there was some pretty massive trees in there that we had removed. And looking back, it was probably a very good idea to do it at the time. And so now we'd just like to try and get that replanted back, so to have that natural buffer. And I think the property next door, that is the empty lot or the vacant lot beside the Whitlocks, is the growth in that is really leaps and bounds. But I would suspect that there will be growth on that as far as a home or something in the near future with the age of the tenants, next door.
Right.
So.
And just one more question for me, sorry, Mr. Perot. So just so I understand, I just want to make sure I understand your diagram correctly
Yeah.
here. Currently, there's about 90 feet from the rear of your current existing building to the property line on the back, and now it will be 40 feet?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think
right.
there's Yeah, I think it left us about 14 or 15 feet from the back of the building to that buffer.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's around that. Actually, I think it's probably 80-some feet right now, and that would leave us, including the 30-foot buffer, 48 or 49 feet total there.
Okay, and so I understand, just looking at your drawing, and this is, I'm looking at the drawing that shows the rear of the proposed addition.
Yep.
It appears to be a light over the door. What type of light is that, and what's that going to look like?
It is a security light that's there. We've discussed with the Whitlocks, because that's really the only one that would affect. With there being a pool and fence and stuff in their own backyard, they don't mind the light there. I've asked Chris and Jennifer by phone, and I have a text from them complimenting what we've done there to addition the trees and stuff on the back of the property. The light would actually be dropped down to an emergency light over the door, but basically for security reasons. Right now, there's 2 existing windows in that plan, and it was a copy that they drug off of the existing building. But you'll see that when it comes to, from the planning department, we've removed those windows, and we're going to, or we've asked to change the windows along the back of it for natural light from the south into those bays. And if we happen to be in there after hours, the light from inside the shop wouldn't radiate through the upper windows and light to the residents behind.
Thank you, sir. Those are my questions for now. I don't know if Mr. McKeegan, Ms. Kennedy, or Mr. Ruff, if you have any questions or anything that you would like some further input on from Mr. Pro at this time.
I think the key from the buffer zone area is to reinstate it to what it should be, and you and I talked about that in the site that day. There's a lot of organic debris and along the back part there, so cleaning that up and planting more vegetation, I think would make a world of difference back there and allow the water to drain more properly once the debris is gone.
Yeah.
So that's a huge factor as well.
Yeah, and actually, Dale, it's something that Chris and Jennifer brought up when I told them we were going to enhance that drainage. And prior to Stratford Auto going on that lot, they've had water in their basements backing into the yard from that natural swale. So prior to the church being there with a big parking lot, and with our own building there, that we did increase that swale a little bit, changed it to get rid of some water. So it has helped, but my own belief is that we're not getting rid of enough water out of it, and when Dale and I discussed it, you know, we should definitely get a better run of water to get it off that property, so. And down into that natural swale that goes behind existing storage units that are on the next lot, and there's probably 6 buildings on those 2 lots next door. Yes, yeah. And again, they're right back to their 30-foot tree buffer with the, on this property here, at the back of the storage units. So right here, you measure it off, they're really close, or actually pretty close to the edge of their buffer zone. Their elevation changes quite a bit from the back, so they do have a good water flow to get across the back of that property and into the swale that runs and dumps in behind the property that runs down through the church.
Right, and the day that you and I were there, we discussed getting a stormwater plan for the entire area, so it's all one continuous system,
Yeah,
and that's the best way for it to work.
And that's exactly, and if we do something with that property on the next property to it, which we own, and it's, we use it as a parking overflow right now, and obviously we'll be doing something with the parking there. Prior to a permit on that property, Dale and I have discussed putting a water drainage in the middle of that lot, so it wouldn't impact the swale at the back, though that water would catch and run to the road, because the province now has that stormwater drain go right across the front of the property when they did the road expansion. At the time that we built and the church and Jeff built in there with the storage units, there was no stormwater. I believe it actually run at that time, Dale, if you correct me, but we would be down close to the edge of between A and the 05-6 on that overhead from the Sobeys parking lot, and that's where the storm water drain actually went across, and I believe Sobeys put that in at the time to get rid of the water out to the natural swale that was there. So
Right.
there's been some development for sure in those two properties, three properties, I guess, along the way there. So.
And just so I can clarify this, once the water from any of the sites goes towards the public right-of-way, we'll be contacting the Department of Highways as they own the roads, and they'll comment on
Yes,
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
again, yeah. And I think that's it, that lot next door would be, we discussed, it's going to have some major parking area on it, which would be a lot of pavement, and definitely have a stormwater drain at that time go out to the existing drains. But as for the operation that we're there, it's not going to change a lot of water drainage on that property, but it's time to enhance it, as Dale said, to get that water across. And I didn't feel at the time that we should go back to the church now and try and ask them to step up and put some water drainage at the time. So the easy solution, which we already have an agreement there to run that water across, is just to enhance it and get the water off there.
All right. Ms. Kennedy, Mr. Ruff, anything at this time? Mr. McKeegan, anything else?
No, that's fine for me,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Pro, appreciate that. I'm going to ask you to stay there, though. So I will, at this point in time, turn the floor open to the public here present or online for any questions for the applicant as it relates to this application for the special permitted use. I see no takers here in the general public. Ms. Vera, I'm going to call upon you if anybody is, no? Okay, hearing nobody with questions at this time from the floor. Thank you, Mr. Perot. I will inform you as well as the public for the record of the next steps in this application process, and they would be as follows. Written comments will be received until Friday, June 30th, 2023 at 12 noon by email to PROUGH, P-R-O-U-G-H @townofstratford.ca or hand-delivered to the Town Center Planning Department. As noted before, comments on social media pages, whether personal or the town's, or otherwise, or on the website, will not be considered to be an official written submission. Planning Board will then meet to discuss and forward a recommendation to Council. Tentatively, that meeting is scheduled for July the 4th, 2023 at noon. And then tentatively, Town Council will meet to deliberate on the merits of the resolution on July the 12th, 2023 at or about 4:30 p.m. I want to thank the applicants for attending tonight and giving their thorough presentations. I want to extend a sincere thank you to the members of the public who might be viewing online at home or those who have attended here in person. Certainly, our democracy can only really work when we participate in it, so I appreciate that. And finally, last but certainly not least, and for most from my perspective, I want to extend a sincere appreciation and thanks to the town staff, specifically Mr. Ruff, Mr. McKeegan, Ms. Kennedy, and Ms. Vieira, as well as Ms. DeWitt, who are all present here tonight, for all of their efforts in preparing so capably these applications that we've heard about, as well as ensuring that this public meeting goes as well as it does. And without anything further, I will now adjourn this public meeting. So thank you for your participation.